Fetal alcohol syndrome disability presentation. It is a well-known fact that drinking alcohol during pregnancy can be harmful to the unborn fetus. Alcohol consumption during any stage of pregnancy can have detrimental effects to the newborn that will last a lifetime. Those with the condition can suffer a wide variety of conditions called fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. This is an umbrella term that is used to describe the broad range of effects that can occur from in utero alcohol exposure. Fetal alcohol syndrome is the most serious type of these spectrum disorders. Fetal alcohol syndrome can be defined as a congenital syndrome caused by excessive consumption of alcohol by the mother during pregnancy, identified by retardation of mental development and physical growth of the infant. In 1899, Dr. William Sullivan, a British physician, conducted the first scientific study of children that were born to alcoholic mothers. He found that alcoholic females had a higher rate of stillborn births when compared to those born to mothers who did not consume alcohol while pregnant. Prior to his findings, it is believed that heredity was the cause for these problems. There is even a link between alcohol and the way it negatively affects infants as far back into history in biblical, ancient Greek, and ancient Roman sources. During the time frame from the 1960s to the 1980s, alcohol was often given by medical doctors to mothers who were experiencing preterm labor. It was thought to relax the uterus and stop contractions. At times, alcohol was given through an intravenous route to heavily intoxicate the mother in an effort to stop painful deliveries. It was not until 1973 when fetal alcohol syndrome was named by Dr. Kenneth Lyons Jones and Dr. David Wahey Smith, who both studied birth defects. Dr. Jones and Dr. Smith wanted to name fetal alcohol syndrome after the alcohol, which was the cause of the symptoms. They felt that by doing this, it would bring awareness to people and encourage prevention. As research and clinical experience led to more discoveries about maternal alcohol use, alcohol was confirmed to be a teratogen. This means that it could cause harm to an embryo. The term fetal alcohol spectrum disorder was developed due to the broad range of symptoms those with the condition developed. Prenatal alcohol exposure is the most prevalent single cause of intellectual impairment in children in the Western world. Of all the many forms of substance abuse, alcohol abuse is considered to be the most serious in pregnancy due to the devastation that it causes to the newborn infant. Any amount of alcohol at all that passes from the mother to the developing fetus can pose a risk. This includes wine, beer, and any type of liquor. The fetus is unable to process or metabolize alcohol through the developing liver and other organs, leading to the same blood alcohol concentration exposure as the mother. It is estimated that 40,000 babies are born in the U.S. each year with a fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Of those, nearly 8,000 are diagnosed with fetal alcohol syndrome. In order for fetal alcohol syndrome to be diagnosed, there are a number of things that must be present. This includes evidence of excessive maternal drinking during pregnancy, characteristic facial features of the newborn that include a small head, thin upper lip, flat jaw area, and poor development of the philtrum, which is the vertical groove under the nose. Also, growth retardation or lower than average height, weight, or both, and central nervous system damage that is lifelong and debilitating. Although a large number of children are affected by prenatal alcohol exposure, only 10% through 40% of children born to alcoholic mothers meet the criteria for a full-blown fetal alcohol syndrome diagnosis. Many physical and mental problems occur in children born to an alcohol-addicted mother. Birth defects in the developing fetus, known on the spectrum as alcohol-related birth defects, or ARBD, may include heart, bone, kidney, vision, and hearing loss problems. Newborns may be born with a low birth weight and have a small head size. They may exhibit poor weight gain and overall growth. Excessive fussiness and jitters can be present. In severe cases, seizures may occur. Older children can exhibit neurologic problems that include poor balance and a lack of coordination and fine motor skills. They have developmental delay in the areas of learning difficulties, poor memory, and often lack problem-solving skills. Behavior problems are common and include hyperactivity, anxiety, impulsiveness, and stubbornness. Diagnosis is difficult due to the fact that there are no tests for fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. Since there are varying degrees of disability with each spectrum disorder, children are classified by symptoms. Partial fetal alcohol syndrome, or PFAS, is diagnosed if the child has been exposed to prenatal alcohol and has facial abnormalities, growth problems, or central nervous system abnormalities, but does not meet the criteria for a full-blown fetal alcohol syndrome diagnosis. Another spectrum disorder is alcohol-related neurodevelopmental disorder, or ARND. These individuals have intellectual disabilities, problems with behavior regulation, learning problems, and nerve or brain abnormalities. They do not exhibit growth problems or have the abnormal facial features that are related to other spectrum disorders. ARND is diagnosed twice as often as fetal alcohol syndrome. Neurobehavioral disorder associated with prenatal alcohol exposure, or NDPAE, categorizes individuals who have been exposed to prenatal alcohol into this spectrum. These individuals have an onset of symptoms in childhood. They show impairment in social, academic, and adaptive functioning. There is only one way to prevent fetal alcohol syndrome, and that is for women to avoid drinking alcohol during pregnancy. It is 100% preventable if this is done. It is unknown if drinking by fathers has any impact prior to conception. The U.S. Surgeon General recommends that women abstain from alcohol during pregnancy and even for the period when pregnancy is being planned. All alcoholic beverage containers in the United States, under federal regulation, are required to have warning labels about the risks of drinking while pregnant. There is no cure for fetal alcohol syndrome, and the spectrum disorders last a lifetime. There are treatments that can help individuals that are affected with this disability with the goal to help them reach their full potential. Research has shown that early identification and treatment can improve the affected individual's development and overall lifestyle. Services available include medication, developmental services, behavior modification, educational intervention, social skills training, and training parents how to support these children. Also, close monitoring in school and the workplace, community support services, and home settings that provide a stable environment are essential. There are several organizations available that focus on fetal alcohol syndrome. They are in place to inform and educate people about the disease. The National Organization on Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders works to raise awareness and support those in need. The CDC governmental agency offers a collaborative for alcohol-free pregnancy network that offers research, data and statistics, and training resources related to fetal alcohol syndrome. Also, the American Academy of Pediatrics has a fetal alcohol spectrum disorders program in place to explain their policies and recommendations for those affected and their caregivers. I chose fetal alcohol syndrome as my topic because I do have a distant family member with this disability. My great aunt and uncle have fostered several children throughout the years. They were fortunate enough to be able to adopt a girl who was born to an alcoholic mother. While she was at least 10 years older than me, whenever our families would get together, she would always play with us younger kids. I always knew she had a disability, but did not learn what it was until I was much older and could understand the struggles that she was experiencing. I am happy to say that she has grown into a beautiful person and is able to live in her own apartment and have a job. She has the freedom of independence, but still has all the support, guidance, and assistance she needs from her very large family and community. Even with her limitations, she is quite an inspiration to everybody. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something of interest.